At 52, gospel star Deitrick Haddon collapsed in front of his congregation. But the reason behind it will leave you stunned. Just hours after his wife publicly exposed shocking allegations, the pastor found himself at the center of a scandal that's shaking the church world. What exactly happened, and how did it all spiral out of control? Stay tuned, because the truth behind this shocking moment is even more unbelievable than the headlines suggest. Deitrick Haddon has long been celebrated as one of gospel music's most influential voices, known for powerful songs and heartfelt sermons. But recently, his world turned upside down. In an unexpected and shocking turn of events, the 52-year-old pastor collapsed during a church service, right after his wife came forward with explosive revelations about their private life. In this video, we're diving deep into the story behind that moment. What exactly his wife revealed, how the church and fans reacted, and the impact this scandal could have on his career and legacy. You'll get the full timeline, all the key facts and insider details that most headlines won't tell you. By the end of this video, you'll understand the full scale of the controversy and why this incident has left the gospel community in shock. But first, let's rewind and look at the events that led to that fateful day. Deitrick Haddon has been a household name in gospel music and ministry for decades. From his early days as a teen singing in church choirs to becoming a celebrated pastor and recording artist, he's built a reputation for inspiring messages and heartfelt music. Many looked up to him not just for his talent, but for his spiritual guidance and commitment to his congregation. For years, his life seemed picture perfect. Married, respected, and adored by fans, Deitrick appeared to have it all. But behind the scenes, sources say tensions had been building for some time. Reports hint at personal struggles, disagreements in his marriage, and stress from balancing his public ministry with private life challenges. Rumors of secret disputes circulated quietly, but nothing had ever reached the public spotlight until now. What changed everything was the explosive revelations made by his wife. Suddenly, the private life of a celebrated pastor was no longer private, and the timing couldn't have been more dramatic. Just hours before he collapsed in church, the allegations became public, leaving the congregation and fans alike in disbelief. Imagine sitting in church listening to a sermon from a pastor you trust, only to witness him suddenly collapse. For many, it was more than shocking. It was heartbreaking. But the shocking collapse was just the tip of the iceberg. The real story behind what caused it and what his wife revealed is far more intricate and revealing. And here's the twist. Not everyone believes the full story is being told. While some call it a personal matter, others argue it exposes a hidden side of Deitrick Haddon's life that has never been seen before. What exactly did his wife reveal, and why did it trigger such a dramatic public reaction? Before we uncover that, it's important to understand the timeline and the context that led up to this shocking moment. The moment that changed everything began quietly, but it quickly became a media firestorm. Deitrick Haddon's wife, after years of keeping her frustrations private, made public statements that left fans and the church community in shock. While the exact details of their personal disputes are complex, insiders report that her revelations involved claims of deception, broken trust, and allegations that called into question the integrity of their marriage. Sources close to the family say that these revelations were not entirely unexpected behind the scenes. Friends and associates had noticed tension in the couple's relationship, but the public had no idea that things had escalated to this level. When she spoke out, she alleged that Deitrick had made choices that contradicted the values he preached from the pulpit, choices that some argue undermined the moral authority he had built over decades. The church and fans reacted immediately. Social media erupted with speculation, ranging from supportive messages for Deitrick to harsh criticism and calls for transparency. Many were confused and heartbroken. How could someone so beloved be involved in a scandal so personal and explosive? And why now? Adding to the tension, the timing was dramatic. Reports suggest that she revealed these claims mere hours before Deitrick's collapse during a service. Some witnesses say that his sudden fainting was not just a physical reaction, it was the culmination of intense emotional and psychological stress. The congregation was left stunned, unsure whether it was a medical emergency or a reaction to the scandal unfolding in real time. And the details of her revelation didn't just stop at the collapse. She reportedly shared evidence and accounts that painted a picture of a private life very different from the public image of a perfect pastor and husband. While specifics remain confidential in some cases, insiders confirm that the allegations involved personal choices and private actions that directly conflicted with the spiritual and moral standards Deitrick promoted. But here's where it gets even more complicated. While some supporters rushed to defend Deitrick, others began questioning the dynamics of accountability and transparency within church leadership. Could a spiritual leader truly hide such personal controversies for so long? And what does this scandal mean for his credibility as both a pastor and public figure? At this point, the story doesn't just stop at the revelations. The scandal spread like wildfire, forcing both Deitrick and his wife to navigate public scrutiny, intense media attention, and the reactions of a devoted, yet now deeply curious, congregation. Fans began combing through past sermons, interviews, and social media posts, searching for clues or contradictions that might explain what really happened. And just when you think the story might settle, a new twist emerges. Whispers of possible reconciliations, legal concerns, and even insiders hinting at previously unknown issues behind closed doors. It's at this juncture that the question becomes unavoidable. How much of this story is really known, and how much is still hidden from the public eye? Stay tuned, because the next chapter uncovers not only the immediate fallout from the scandal, but also the ripple effects it had across the gospel community, effects that continue to shock even the most seasoned observers. The news of Deitrick Haddon's collapse and the explosive revelations from his wife didn't stay quiet for long. Within hours, the story had spread across social media platforms, gospel forums, and even mainstream news outlets. Fans, fellow pastors, and public figures alike were weighing in, each adding their voice to a growing chorus of shock, sympathy, and sometimes criticism. For many longtime supporters, the images and reports of Deitrick collapsing in church were heartbreaking. People who had admired him for decades now found themselves questioning everything they thought they knew. Social media platforms were flooded with posts like, "How could this happen to someone so respected?" And, "I can't believe my favorite pastor is facing this." Others were quick to defend him, emphasizing that everyone has personal struggles and that a single moment, or even a scandal, doesn't define a person's entire life or ministry. But the reactions weren't all sympathetic. Critics and skeptics were relentless. Some argued that the collapse was symbolic, pointing to the alleged revelations as proof of hidden flaws that had been ignored for too long. Memes, videos, and opinion threads began circulating, dissecting past sermons, interviews, and social media posts for hints of hypocrisy or inconsistencies. Every tweet, Instagram story, or old video clip suddenly became a piece of evidence in a debate that seemed to grow by the minute. Church leadership was caught in a difficult position. Many congregations struggled to process what had happened in real time. Leaders had to decide whether to publicly support Deitrick, address the allegations, or remain silent and let the situation unfold. The balance between pastoral loyalty and accountability became a hot topic in conversations across the gospel community. For some, the incident sparked discussions about transparency, moral responsibility, and the pressures that come with public ministry. Meanwhile, the media coverage added another layer of complexity. Headlines like "Gospel Pastor Collapses Amid Scandal" and "Shocking Revelations from Deitrick Haddon's Wife" dominated news feeds. Talk shows and online publications dissected the story, speculating on motives, relationships, and the potential impact on his career. Some reports focused on the emotional toll, highlighting how such public scrutiny can affect personal health, while others leaned into sensationalism, emphasizing drama over nuance. And then there were the unanswered questions. How serious were the allegations? Would this affect his music and ministry? Could the couple reconcile? Fans and critics alike were left in suspense, waiting for official statements or clarifications. Every new post or interview became a potential revelation, feeding a cycle of anticipation and speculation. The ripple effect extended far beyond his immediate circle. Fellow gospel artists, pastors, and church leaders were suddenly forced to confront the possibility that public figures they admired might have private struggles unknown to the public eye. Social media debates erupted over accountability in ministry, the pressure of maintaining a public image, and whether personal matters should remain private or be publicly addressed. Amid all this chaos, one fact became undeniable. Deitrick Haddon's collapse wasn't just a personal crisis, it had become a cultural moment. It forced people to examine their expectations of spiritual leaders and question how much of their personal lives should be shielded from public scrutiny. And just when it seemed the story might plateau, insiders hinted at additional details that had yet to surface. Hidden tensions, potential legal considerations, and private family disputes could all add layers to an already complicated narrative. The next chapter isn't just about reactions, it's about what happens next, and how this scandal might redefine Deitrick Haddon's career and legacy in ways no one saw coming. While the public was reacting to the shock of Deitrick Haddon collapsing and the scandal unveiled by his wife, very few understood the intense personal pressure he had been under. Ministry, music, family obligations, and public scrutiny can create a unique kind of stress that is both invisible and relentless. And in Deitrick's case, insiders say the combination of these pressures reached a breaking point in a way that manifested physically and emotionally. For decades, Deitrick had balanced multiple demanding roles: recording artist, pastor, husband, and father. Each role came with its own expectations. Fans expected powerful music and uplifting messages. Church members expected spiritual guidance and moral leadership. And family responsibilities demanded time, attention, and care. Maintaining all of these roles simultaneously is a challenge few outside the industry can truly understand. Add to that the weight of a public scandal. The moment his wife's allegations became public, it wasn't just headlines that he faced, it was judgment, gossip, and relentless curiosity from millions of eyes. Reports indicate that the sudden onslaught of media attention and social media speculation created a level of anxiety that some experts compare to a psychological pressure cooker. Medical professionals often point out that extreme emotional stress can trigger physical reactions. In Deitrick's case, witnesses say he appeared visibly distressed during the church service before collapsing. Some congregants described seeing him sweating profusely, struggling to maintain composure, and appearing disoriented before he fell. While the collapse itself was alarming, the underlying issue, years of accumulated stress, compounded by a very public personal crisis, offers insight into why such an incident could happen. But there's more to the story than just stress. Insider reports suggest that Deitrick has been quietly grappling with personal doubts and challenges in his marriage for some time. The public exposure of private matters magnified those challenges exponentially. Imagine carrying the weight of personal struggles while simultaneously knowing that millions are watching, judging, and speculating on every move. The mental and emotional toll is difficult to overstate. Some experts emphasize that public figures, especially those in ministry, are often expected to display unwavering strength. Vulnerability can be seen as weakness. Yet moments like Deitrick's collapse reveal the human reality behind the spiritual persona. Pastors and gospel artists are not immune to emotional breakdowns, and in this case, the collapse served as a visible reminder of how personal crises can intersect with public life in dramatic ways. Even more concerning are the whispers from insiders about the additional pressures he faced in reconciling with his wife privately, while being unable to shield those struggles from the public eye. The tension between protecting family privacy and maintaining public transparency created a constant state of high stress. Some sources suggest that Deitrick had been experiencing sleepless nights, elevated blood pressure, and signs of burnout long before the incident, warning signs that may have foreshadowed the collapse. And yet, even with all this turmoil, Deitrick returned to the pulpit days later, demonstrating resilience, commitment, and the complexity of his situation. But the incident has left a lasting mark on both his physical health and public perception. It also raises important questions about the culture of expectation around pastors and public figures. How much pressure is too much? How do we balance accountability, privacy, and human vulnerability? Just when it seemed the story couldn't get more complicated, reports surfaced suggesting that Deitrick's collapse might not have been a singular event. Some insiders hint at ongoing health concerns and emotional struggles that have been quietly affecting him for months. The unfolding reality is that what happened in that church was not just a one-time spectacle. It may be part of a larger, ongoing struggle that has yet to fully reveal itself. After the shocking events that unfolded with Deitrick Haddon, the gospel community, fans, and the public at large were left grappling with the aftermath. The collapse, coupled with his wife's explosive revelations, sent ripples through the ministry world that are still being felt today. It was not just a moment of personal crisis, it became a turning point in Deitrick's career and personal life. In the immediate aftermath, statements began to emerge from both Deitrick and his wife. Deitrick took to social media to assure fans that he was recovering and committed to his ministry, emphasizing the importance of forgiveness, healing, and moving forward. His messages highlighted that everyone, no matter how public their life, faces struggles and setbacks. Yet while many embraced his words, skeptics continued to question whether his public persona could survive the scrutiny brought on by such a scandal. The impact on his ministry was immediate and complex. Some congregants remained loyal, offering support and prayers for him and his family. Others, however, struggled with trust issues, wondering if the man who preached integrity and faithfulness could truly lead without distraction. Discussions erupted online, focusing on the delicate balance between accountability and grace, especially when it comes to spiritual leaders. The music community was equally affected. Deitrick Haddon, celebrated for decades as a gospel artist with numerous hits and accolades, now faced questions about whether his career could withstand the fallout. Collaborations, performances, and tours were scrutinized, and fans debated whether his personal life should overshadow his artistic contributions. The scandal sparked broader conversations about the pressures gospel artists face in maintaining both spiritual and personal perfection. Behind the scenes, sources suggest that Deitrick and his wife have been engaging in private counseling and mediation to address the underlying issues in their marriage. Reports indicate that this process has been ongoing, with both sides committed to healing, though the journey is far from easy. Family dynamics, trust rebuilding, and public perception all play a role in the delicate process of reconciliation. There are important lessons that emerge from this entire situation. First, the incident highlights the human side of those we often place on pedestals. Pastors, artists, and public figures may inspire millions, but they also face personal battles that can manifest in dramatic and public ways. Second, it demonstrates the powerful role of transparency, communication, and accountability, not just in ministry, but in personal relationships and public life. Finally, it reminds the public that compassion and understanding are essential. While accountability matters, so does recognizing the humanity of those at the center of controversy. As for the future, the gospel community is watching closely. Deitrick Haddon's ability to navigate the aftermath of this scandal will likely define the next chapter of his career. Will he emerge stronger, with renewed support and a deeper connection to his congregation and fans? Or will the scandal cast a long shadow that takes years to overcome? Early signs suggest resilience. Deitrick has continued to minister, record music, and appear publicly, signaling that he is determined to reclaim his narrative and focus on growth, healing, and impact. There is also a broader cultural lesson here. The incident has sparked conversations across social media, gospel forums, and news outlets about how the public perceives spiritual leaders, the pressures of maintaining perfection, and the need for empathy when personal struggles surface. Many observers hope this moment encourages a more compassionate and realistic understanding of what it means to be a pastor, musician, or public figure in today's hyper-connected world. And while the story may feel like it's reaching closure, one thing is certain. The events surrounding Deitrick Haddon's collapse, the allegations from his wife, and the public fallout have left an indelible mark on the gospel community. The full impact will unfold over months and perhaps years, as fans, church members, and fellow artists watch closely to see how he rebuilds trust, strengthens his ministry, and navigates the delicate balance between private life and public expectation. For now, Deitrick Haddon's story is far from over. It's a story of human vulnerability, public scrutiny, resilience, and the complex interplay between personal and professional life. And for the millions watching, it serves as a reminder that even those we admire most are human, and even the strongest can face moments that shake them to their core.